So I'm realizing most people don't really know what a transaction broker is. Hi, I'm Agi Anderson. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Agi TV. Yes, a transaction broker is a thing, and it came into play quite a while ago when they stopped doing dual agency because you cannot represent two people at the same time. You can, however, facilitate a transaction for a buyer and for a seller, and let me explain how you do that. Part of the listing agreement that I do, or the one I use, is called transaction broker. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to speak to a buyer about the property that I have listed, okay? I'm not really representing anybody at that point when a buyer asks about the property. That transaction broker gives me the ability to facilitate a sale. There is another listing agreement that says you are a single agent for the seller. And then if you want to talk to a buyer, you got to do another form that says the seller gives you the right to be a transaction broker to speak to a buyer. Well, that to me is a gross waste of time. And in reality, a lot of buyers really want to speak to the listing agent. They know the property the best. And quite frankly, most listing agents like me give the seller some kind of compensation or reduction of the commission when they are acting as a transaction broker. So there are so many advantages of this particular type of representation, if you will, because in essence, you're not representing anybody. And what you're doing is you're being fair and equitable to both parties. Let me explain that a little bit better. So the buyer, bing, bing, calls you up and says, hey, I want to see the property you have listed at XYZ property, right? And I say, okay, no problem. I qualify them to make certain that there's somebody that is going to be able to qualify to buy a property because let's face it, that's part of my job. And then I decide, yes, this person is somebody that is financially in the position to buy this property if it is suitable for them. Then we go and see the property, and then that buyer begins to ask me numerous questions about the property. In my situation, I can't disclose any information that's personal that the seller disclosed to me, nor can I disclose anything personal that the buyer disclosed to me to the seller. My job is to be fair, equitable, and honest to both parties, which I should be anyway. That's how it should be in real estate. It should be that way in any methodology of sales. Fair, equitable, and honest would make the world a better place, right? So that's what it really takes, is you are now helping these parties come together to have some terms and conditions. You're providing factual information. The buyer asks for perhaps a value report. You're giving them a value report. You're providing them any kind of disclosures that the seller gave you. You're providing them facts that you know about the property, which is the right thing to do, right? And then you're providing the seller a financial disclosure that says, these folks are able to buy this property. You're either providing a pre-qualification letter or you're providing them a proof of funds if they're going to pay cash. So all of this is really very easy to do, and it is not as difficult as some people would think it is to be a transaction broker. I've done it numerous times, very successfully. I've just completed a sale where it was actually quite beneficial that I was on both sides. It was a very complex sale because a room was not permitted. There was, things had to come apart. The buyer and the seller worked very closely together. Most people think, oh my God, you can't have that happen. But that's not really true. This wasn't about money or anything. It was about effort to do something together so that both parties could get what they wanted from the situation. So that kind of sums it up of what a transaction broker is all about. I really think it is an ideal situation. I also love helping agents that are bringing their buyers, but I really want buyers and sellers to know that it's okay to be working in a transactional situation. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Agi TV. I'm Agi Anderson, your Brevard, Florida Realtor with Coastal Life Properties. I hope you'll join me again in the next episode of Agi TV, and I'll be seeing you on the web.